Welcome to the behind the scenes video of my favorite shoot of this year. It's Construction Tuesday, as you can maybe see out my right hand window.
Construction Tuesday on a Monday.
Today I'm going to take you to Banff, Alberta. We were in BC for a wedding, and Banff is kind of on the way there. We were in Golden for the wedding. Banff is a beautiful place, usually with fantastic visibility, like mountain ranges as far as the eye can see. Unfortunately, we were kind of interrupted by the forest fire situation out there. It's really bad this August specifically. Apparently there's a forest fire season that every August for the past couple of years it's kind of been like this. So visibility not so great, but the big plus that came with those forest fires was the fact that everything basically looked like it was just in a sunset for an extended period of time. So starting around 5 p.m. sunset was like 9:20. Starting at 5 it just started to look like a sunset, and that was really, really cool. Big announcement for Patreon members. If you are a member of Patreon, I'm going to be releasing the 5 behind the scenes videos to you. If you actually purchase those 5 behind the scenes videos, send me an email. I'll send your money back for that if you're a Patreon member. But over the next 5 days, you're going to get a behind the scenes video on camera, kind of like you're used to over the next 5 days. So enjoy those. On this shoot, I am photographing with 2 camera bodies. I have my Nikon D850 with a Nikon 58mm f1.4 lens on it. I typically shoot this lens pretty much at 1.4 all the time. If I want a little more depth of field like mountains, I might be stepping it down a little bit. The other camera is a Nikon D750, and that Nikon D750 has the beautiful Nikon 24mm f1.4G on it, which is a lens that I absolutely love. And the way that we scouted these locations was by going on the internet and just searching for best lookout spots that you could drive to. I think that there is, maybe I'm the most lazy landscape photographer in the world, but I would rather go to a lookout that I know that I'm going to have a for sure good thing rather than doing the full hike to show up to a spot that maybe isn't as good as I thought it would be, or also kind of embracing the element of randomness that we thought the first location that we go, the first location in this video, was actually going to be our throwaway. We went there a little bit early because the sun was still a little bit high, but it turned out to actually be the best location that we went to. So something is to be said about the element of randomness when it comes to locations, that even if you scout things at the exact same time, elements and the weather can come together in a different way that actually makes it a whole lot different, a whole lot better, a whole lot worse. You never know until you shoot there. So always go to locations with backup gear as well as backup ideas for if your main ideas do not work out. I am actually on my way to go golfing today, which is not a thing that I do typically. I guess this is maybe a little bit off topic, but one struggle I really found myself having a lot in the corporate photography environment was that nobody was really willing to pay any money for commercial photography. That I was getting a lot of kind of like $200 job offers, which doesn't really cover the time it takes to go in and set up lights and really put together a good scene. So I've kind of done something, I'm going to talk about it on Patreon in the future, but it is essentially about how to get really high paying gigs a lot easier than you would think for photography and for video things. So thank you so much for watching, and on to the video. Can I maybe make you give him a hug from behind? Yes. And if anything feels weird, just don't do it, because contrary to the popular belief, that looks good. And I'll have you looking at me, and do you want to kind of look out that way? Looks so good. I do like this image overall. There are some things that I could have done a little bit differently in camera to get a better frame. I should have had a little bit more room off to the left-hand side there to give Stu's face a little bit room to breathe so that he's not pinned up against the left-hand side of the frame. I should have also brought the right-hand side of the frame in a little bit more to make Diana a little bit less of a center comp. However, I do like the hair, how it kind of goes down. I would also like to see evidence of a second hand. Otherwise, it's just this kind of singular hand floating somewhere. But I do like this image overall. Those are the things that I would change going forward in the future. This is the best expression of this set, so even if I did have a better composition, they look the best in this one, so I'm going to deliver this image. Same deal. You know what, do you guys want to hold hands? And I'm going to kind of angle yourselves away from each other, so just kind of like almost back to back, but holding hands.
Looking at you?
You know, you guys can look at opposite directions.
So hip.
Yeah, do that with your other side. That's good right there.
Yeah, give your hair a good flip. There you go, that's awesome.
What I was trying to do here was to kind of match their symmetry with the scene. So it's kind of an imperfect symmetry situation where there's a larger mountain off to the left and a smaller mountain off to the right, as well as a smaller tree kind of off to their left and a larger tree off to their right. And so I was kind of trying to match them, but I wasn't trying to make it a perfect kind of flying V situation. I wanted them to naturally and organically do whatever they wanted so that it was still a little bit broken, a little bit improper. Is this my favorite image from the shoot? Not really, but it is something unique and interesting, and I tried something new that I don't usually do. And I think that's kind of what photography and what these sessions are all about, finding what works and carrying that forward to your next shoot. All right, I'm just gonna hide in the. I'll just be in the foliage over here.
Just circling, barrel rolling down.
That would have made me laugh.
That looks good. All right, so I like this image a lot better. I like to have foreground elements out of focus, whether I'm picking up leaves or flowers to put them directly in front of my lens to kind of create those out of focus elements, or if I'm finding them naturally and just kind of ducking into a bush like I do here. I never try to do anything too crazy. I'm never really like laying on the ground or anything like that. I feel like that's a little too much, but I do like to kind of get some unique and interesting angles. I also really like kind of this 10-degree slant that we have going through the center of the frame here. I think it is interesting. If I was to flatten that out so that it was a straight frame, they would be kind of on an angle, which maybe is also interesting. Let's try that. Nope. But always keep experimenting. There are no real official rules, and if there are rules, it's interesting to break them and do them in different ways. So always explore and try some different variations to images that you would typically process in the same way. What? 2 couples, 1 shoot. I actually really enjoy the dynamic of doing this. I've never done an engagement session with 2 couples. They knew each other at the same time, but it worked out really, really well, and I'm happy that we did it. Yeah. What shoes are you in? You're okay, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to have you guys over here to start.
Sorrels.
That's amazing. These are my fancy Sorrels.
They really are. So comfy. Mark was rushing me as I was leaving the house, so shoes was tough.
Yeah.
It was really long.
This looks so good. Can I start with one with you guys just like arm around each other looking out towards the mountains that way? Yeah. And if you want to play with your dress a little bit to kind of, it's good right there. All right. And so I shot this first with the 24, which is this frame here. The 58 frame is this frame here. I like the 24 a little bit better just because it shows a little bit more of the scene. The 58 also looks really good, but it's a very, very shallow depth of field. And I think there's a lot of cool, interesting things going on that can be softly out of focus in the background. They also add a lot of good layers. Rule of thirds, this image is actually pretty strong. It's got the mountains up top, trees in the middle, ground bottom, as well as kind of the center composition, I guess, but also an interesting center composition because the entire scene is kind of leading into the center. So I think in that case, a center comp works here. Yeah, that's really nice. That was good. And if you guys want to turn into each other and put both arms around each other. That's great. All right. This looks so good.
Just kidding, it's horrible.
It's the worst. I shot this at f2.8 on the Nikon 58mm lens. I did that because I wanted to show a little bit more of the depth of field, what's going on in the background there, because it was hazy and it did not compete in any way with the couple. I use depth of field to isolate against busy and distracting objects, and in this case the background was quite perfect, so that's why I shot it at f2.8. Didn't work out quite what I wanted. If you guys want to just hold hands and come towards me here. I don't know if it did what I wanted it to do. I am a big believer in efficiency, so if we have to be walking a direction, I'm going to have them hold hands and walk towards me, even if I don't believe it's going to be the greatest image. In this image, if I would have moved maybe 2 steps over to my right-hand side to not have that tree coming out of Mark and Shannon, it would have been a slightly better image, but overall, I like it a lot. It's shot at 2.2 on the 24mm. Once they got to the top of the hill that I was standing on, I came back down and shot this with the 58. I like this image a lot. This also shows you the amount of forest fire activity kind of just in the area and how smoky it really was. On to the next location, which is the Mount Norquay lookout, which is a very, very good location if you are in the Banff area looking for a place to do some couples photos. It looks over the entire city. Very nice. That looks really good. Perfect. The dramatic dress goes very well with the dramatic landscape here, which is one of the reasons that we recommended that Shannon wear it. We do have a Pinterest board that you just kind of send to any of your couples, whether it's a family session or an engagement session, just a few different boards to make sure that you're on the same page going into the day. Shannon had this dress and suggested that she wears it, and it turned out to be the greatest dress I've ever seen kind of coupled with this landscape. I did try a few more kind of from more closer to the ground, but I like the idea of isolating them against the sky, but I feel like the image is almost trying a little too hard, where I almost prefer the original where it's just a little more kind of straight from my eye level. All right. You know what, you guys keep doing exactly what you're doing there.
But they would they're like, and you'll see them like in a field because they don't move at all. Yeah. And you start counting them, you're like, oh wow, there's a lot.
That's great. Perfect. And can I do one more? I'll have you both kind of facing me here. And if you want to wrap both your arms kind of around one of his arms. Yeah, something like that, and get really close.
I like you.
Except I feel like I'm taller than you. Maybe go up a little more.
All right, and if you kind of like almost like put your faces in towards each other, but you don't necessarily. That's good there. You can pull your hair away.
Sorry, I can't
It's not.
even
It's
feel
so fun.
My hair's just always in my face. I don't even notice it.
It's just how you
That looks good. And if you want to get really close together, and you don't have to smile or anything, that looks great.
How much closer do you
That looks super good. So this is the exact same spot, pretty much the exact same moment, shot in 2 different focal lengths. And I actually kind of prefer the 24mm focal length that shows a little bit more of the dramatic landscape behind them. But the 58mm focal length feels a lot more kind of intimate and romantic. So I guess it just really does depend on what kind of feel you're going for, but I like to give both when possible. Sorry, I'm going to say like that. It's really, really good.
It's really good.
It's really worth it.
Look away.
Yeah, you guys can keep looking kind of opposite directions. All right.
Do you see any wildlife out here? No, but
Looks good. And if you want to just kind of like angle in towards each other for the last ones here. All right. All right. Perfect. So serious. Again, 2 of the same frames from different focal lengths. The 58 I like a lot. The 24 I also like a lot, but in this case, I actually do like the 58 more. It's a better image, even though the 24 shows a little bit more of the landscape, but you got to take both to figure out which one you actually like the best when you get home. All right. This looks crazy good. This is our last stop on this tour. All right.
Look horrible.
It's like perfect conditions.
the turquoise is perfect though.
Everything really did come together perfectly today, so I'm happy that we went out to shoot even though we knew it was forest fires and we were a little bit worried about what that might actually do to the landscape. It turns out it's actually amazing for photography, so I'm happy that we went out. Sad about the forest fires, but happy that we were able to make something positive from them. I am Taylor Jackson. Thank you for watching. If you want the behind the scenes, the 5 videos, they are going to be on Patreon starting later today. So get over there and get the first video followed by the second video tomorrow, and then for the next 4 days, I guess, plus today, you'll get a new behind the scenes wedding day video, all different weddings. So enjoy. I will see you again the next time that I see you, which I haven't really decided yet, but I'm sure there's the sparkler send off video coming soon. So maybe I'm going to say Wednesday for that.